GMT. Hello, good evening. Welcome to Joy News Prime. We are coming to you live from our studios here at Kokomlemle in Accra. We're also live on DSTV channel 421, GoTV 125, and around the world we are on myjoyonline.com. My name is Carlos Kaloni. Coming up tonight, traders at Malamata Market here in Accra share mixed reactions to the latest drop in inflation to 3.8%, announced by the Ghana Statistical Service. Also, the Accra Metropolitan Assembly sounding the alarm over unhygienic fish preservation practices in part of the capital, sparking fears of a looming public health crisis. More from the Joy Clean Ghana campaign shortly. And controversial bill set to reform Ghana's legal education and decentralize professional legal training to be passed by next week as the lead sponsor Roxanne Nelson Dapamakpo insists no standard will be compromised. And later, Kotoka International Airport renaming controversy grows with sharp political divisions emerging within Parliament. This is Joy News, your home of independent, fearless, and credible journalism. Stay for details. Tonight, traders at the Malamata market in the national capital have been sharing the reality on the ground with regards to the drop in inflation announced by the Statistical Service earlier today, Wednesday. Latest data indicates Ghana's year-on-year inflation rate has dropped sharply to 3.8% in January 2026, the lowest level recorded since rebasing in 2021. The figures show that price increases have slowed significantly nationwide, with month-on-month inflation easing to just 0.2%. Listen to government statistician Dr. Alhassan Idrisu.
The data tell a very clear story. Inflation has fallen sharply and consistently over the year. Price pressures are easing across most components of the CPI. While challenges remain, particularly in some regions and food categories, the overall trend is positive. This creates space for planning, confidence, and recovery. In summary, in terms of numbers, we are talking about January 2026 recording an inflation rate of 3.8%. Food inflation at 3.9%. Non-food inflation at 3.9% as well. Goods inflation at 3.6%. Services inflation at 4%. Inflation for locally produced items at 4.5%. And then we have regional differences, which shows that Northeast recorded the highest inflation at 11.2%. and Savannah recorded the lowest at negative 2.6%.
Well, the 3.8% drop shows that prices are rising much more slower than they were a year ago. At the market, however, traders do not believe this translates to falling prices. Some of them at the Malamata market have been speaking to Joy News.
Peno, you 20 cities, 20, 25, 30, 40. There's a unketeska untimen tope. Uka almost say yes season, a bomosi a beba, and so a mother. Obi aba or see any yenso yaye, penny boarding. In Tama is here, the omunketeska, omuntimen tope, you say scaffold quantity meto, and so parents with you. In Kenya, dria baby, I say any boat to be a cost sama, will be also to be about from no beer to me Toby, no beer to me Toby no D. Because he say a healthy food, but you see a pair unketeska untimento. Since no more year saying ye di Christmas we are a beba. A year last month year trade a December no. And so January is not assigned, but still life a quite a year worse cry. Until ye nim the NTR, ISR.
Akosha is saying that the prices of pear is so high because she was told that at least by the time where the festive seasons were over, the price of pear would have reduced. But here we are in February, and still the prices of pear is so high. She said she doesn't sell any of these pears that you see here below 20 cedis. The lowest price is 20 cedis.
Madam, ginger ne de better. Say un bedroom to ginger 10 cedi. Ube ye nkwan kitue bi wo fie de be she no ginger 50 cedis. Adango kura ye sen. Say adango 2 cedi first me and 5 baby mu use. Say adango 5 cedi.
Auntie Amanda is concerned about the price of ginger. She says that the ginger, the sizes are so small and yet it's so expensive. And to prepare a little meal, you'll have to buy at least 50 cedis ginger because no one sells below even 10 cedis of ginger here. In 2% we told ginger 10 cedis are. She's going to show me how much I will get. Should I purchase 10 cedis ginger? She's actually counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this is 10 cedis worth of ginger that she's giving to me. Prior to first, I buy 5 cedis.
Well, that's the picture here in Accra. Let's take you to the northern part of the country to speak to my colleague Martina Bugre, who is joining us live now. Martina, what have you observed about the prices of food items there in the northern region?
So in the northern region here, a maize a year or two ago used to be like 900. Now it's going for 350. That's the big bag. For a bowl of rice, the local rice, it used to go for 35 cedis. Now it's 20 cedis. Oil, the small yellow gallon used to go between 500 and 550. Now is 300, between 300 and 350. Now, a big box of tomatoes used to go for 1,800. Now it's 900. And a big sack of pepper, fresh pepper, went for 900. Now it's 300. But the irony is that even though the prices have gone down, food vendors have refused to reduce their prices. They still maintain the old prices that they were selling when the prices shot up. So you go to buy food right now, Kenke, for instance, sells between 5 cedis and 7 cedis. But before then, we used to buy Kenke here between 2 and 3 cedis. But since it moved to 5, 7 cedis, they've refused to drop now that the prices have gone down. One other issue that has come up too is farmers are not happy because they invested so much in farming and the prices have gone down. So most of them have left their food stuck because if you go to sell right now, you may make losses. So if you plowed an acre for 200 and now they are buying a bag of maize for 350 cedis, likelihood you will make losses is big.
Thank you so much, Martina, for those details. Well, the data shows that the Savannah region is currently experiencing a deflation of 2.6%, suggests weaker demand or better local supply conditions causing prices to actually drop, while the Northeast region is recording as high as 11.2% inflation due to supply constraints and higher food-related pressures. Other regions like the Volta, Eastern, Western Ahafo, and the Ashanti are all have inflation rate higher than the national average. Joining us on Zoom is Daniel Enim, Prempeh is an economist at Policy Initiative for Economic Development. Grateful for your time. The prices are down, but not so significant according to the consumers we've been speaking to. What would you say is the impact of this decline in inflation on the overall economy?
Right. Thank you. Yes, as much as inflationary pressures are declining, okay, its impact on the livelihood of the citizens, okay, they are here to feel the full impact because we are having a market that is free market economy. It takes time for the sellers to respond accordingly to the stability of the economy as a whole, you know, and that's the reason which people are complaining that indeed inflation is declining, yet we are not feeling it in our pockets. Okay, so it takes time, but on average, it is a fact that we have seen we are experiencing the reduction in certain food commodities and items on the market, and that is very progressive. But we need to move away from where the natural phenomenon is driving the decline in food inflation. It ought to be done by a deliberate policy in the agri sector. That is, we are implementing a policy that will ensure that we're producing food and ensuring food sustainability. But if it is only anchored or driven by the rains, then what it means is that in any event or in any season that we are unlikely to get a very fruitful season, we may not get so much food to be able to, support overall economic growth. But as it stands now, it is a very good and progressive happenings for the economy, where we are seeing a steady decline in inflationary pressures as well as the policy rates and an overall stability of the economy. And that is good for planning and is good for the businesses. I think going forward, policymakers must take advantage and roll out policies that will ensure that the micro level, it benefits almost everybody, regardless of your income level, regardless of the sector you find yourself. And to me, that should be the next step for the managers of the economy to do. And if they're able to do that, that will be a very progressive move for the overall development of the country.
Thank you so much. Dr. Daniel Name is the economist at PID. Well, away from that, a looming public health threat is emerging in Jamestown and part of Accra, where fresh fish caught from the sea is being preserved under conditions authorities say put consumers at risk. The latest Joy Clean Ghana campaign uncovered fishmongers in Jamestown drying fish on busy road medians, exposing them to vehicle emissions, dust, and other environmental contaminants. While the practice is widespread, public health officials warn the consequences could be severe. My colleague Stephen Mensah has more in the following report.
Have you ever considered how and where your fishes are dried? Today on the Joy Clean Ghana campaign, we take you to Jamestown, where fishmongers are drying fish in unhygienic conditions. Director of Public Health at the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, Florence Kuchi, says the drying of these fishes pose a significant health risk to many Ghanaians.
Because of the vehicular emissions and the ties, there's also a high risk of lead and cadmium contamination on these fishes. And when you eat it, you can develop upper respiratory diseases. It is like some of the chemicals are carcinogenics. And not just that one alone. With the microorganisms, it can lead to diarrhea, it can lead to cholera, it can lead to typhoid fever. Some people go to the market, they don't even wash it, they just remove the dish and they want to taste it to see how palatable it is before they will buy. You stood there and they are telling you they are not selling it to human beings. Whom are they selling it to?
Beyond the exposure to fumes and pollutants, the task force also identified broader sanitation challenges, including poor waste disposal. Some fishmongers, however, say they have received little guidance or education from the assembly on safer handling and preservation practices.
I have borrowed 30 fishes to sell. One is 170 cedis. They have seized all. If the mayor really sends them, we don't have anything to say again. This is where we dry the fish. So if they won't allow us to do it here, they should give us a new place.
They should have waited for us to remove our fish. Tomorrow they can enforce the law after cautioning us today. But it makes everyone's fish up. We can't tell which one belongs to anyone. They have refused to give us a place to dry our fish after so many years.
These claims have, however, been dismissed by the public health authorities.
Today is not the first time we've just come here. It doesn't mean that we've just got up and we are here. For the past 3 years now, I've been talking with these women.
The Assembly, through its Directorate for Public Health, is cautioning that consuming food preserved in these conditions could lead to bacterial infections as well as longer-term respiratory illnesses. Reporting from Jamestown, I am Stephen Mensah for Joy News.
Well, away from that story, the controversial bill laid before Parliament seeking to reform Ghana's legal education is set to be passed by close of next week. That's the assurance coming from lead sponsor Roxanne Nelson Kwame Dafiamakpo. The bill is passed. The bill will centralize legal education, taking it from the autonomous Ghana School of Law to the various law faculties in the various tertiary institutions. This is a move which has received series of backlash from legal luminaries like the Venerable Sam Okujeto, who fears legal education standards could be compromised. But lead sponsor and majority chief whip Roxanne Nelson Dafiamakpo, who says part of the measures is to establish an independent commission to ensure the accreditation of the various faculties.
Doing this under accreditation.
Okay.
So you see, under Article 25.
GTech?
No. GTech has a role in terms of the curriculum development. But there will be a body set up for, but they will be working in consonance with GTech, because GTech is also set up by
GLC, or you're scrapping GLC?
We are scrapping GLC and setting up a legal education commission.
Okay.
You know.
It's a commission.
It's a commission. Yeah.
That sounds like it has a lot of teeth.
Yeah. I'm even arguing that it should be an authority. So when we get to the floor, we'll look at it.
But as it stands now in this draft, it's a commission.
It's a commission, yeah.
And I also see here a provision is made for the National Bar Examination Committee. What's that?
Yeah, there will be a body that will administer the National Bar exams.
Separate from the commission?
It will operate under the aegis of the commission.
Okay.
You know, but they will be in charge of the National Bar exams. You know.
Okay, so but what then happens to the GLC? It will exist as a supervisory.
It's a reform. It's a reform because a lot of lawyers are not happy, for instance, that lawyers get disciplined by judges, but we lawyers, we don't ever get to discipline judges who err. So why should a judge discipline me? Judges discipline themselves under the Judicial Council, which is a creature of the Constitution. There are subcommittees there are disciplinary committees as a subcommittee of the Judicial Council. They discipline erring judges. Petitions go there all the time. And so if there is a body that is supposed to discipline erring professional lawyers, why should judges dominate it? You know?
But this doesn't reform that, right? There's a separate conversation. Or it's in this one?
We'll deal with it when we get
But what is certain from what you're saying is that you are stripping the GLC of its education responsibility.
Yes.
That it currently still has. Okay. Well, he also added that no lecturer will teach at the faculty level without attaining a PhD, including judges.
For instance, Professor Kumado, who taught me arguably some of the best things in constitutional law, never got a PhD. But he rather supervises people with PhD because of the depth of experience he garnered. So if we introduce this law, anyway, he's on retirement now. He's old, he's tired, unfortunately. So if we introduce, then people like that cannot, unless they go and take a PhD. So it's a way of... Yes.
I mean, you're qualified to teach.
Yes. And I have done some teaching.
Exactly. So what do you mean? Once you pass this, you can't do that anymore?
Yes. So I've actually started my PhD.
That's interesting.
Yes.
Even judges. I know some judges teach.
Yeah.
So judges can teach.
A lot of judges have their LLMs. And because of their experience on the bench, they teach the professional courses. I think it's only in a few faculties that the judges come down to teach the academic program. But the judges normally will teach professional courses like...
But they can't go in the faculty and teach.
Yes, in this one.
The law says you must have
Yes, so this one... But I think you are raising a very good point. So we may have to create some exemptions that when the person is like a Supreme Court judge or judges of the Superior Court, we may have to create that small exemption for them.
Well, Kwame Anyumedo is the ranking member on the Constitutional and Legal Affairs Committee in Parliament and has joined us via phone this evening. Grateful for your time here on Join His Prime. Does this bill have the blessings of the minority?
Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you. If you could speak up a bit. I'm asking if this bill has the blessings of the minority.
Yes, the bill has the blessing of Parliament. The bill was laid in Parliament, and the Speaker referred it to the Constitutional Legal Committee. We have met as a committee with volunteers who had assisted the committee in coming out with our report. We've made some proposals to amend some clauses in the bill, and we are yet to do the consideration of the House by the entire House. So I would say that it has the blessing of the committee. This is not a matter of majority minority.
What challenges do you foresee with regards to this particular bill?
Now, can you please repeat your question?
I'm asking, what challenges do you foresee with regards to the bill if it finally passes into law?
Well, I don't, because every bill seeks to cure a mischief, and the problems that we have in the legal education is what this bill is seeking to cure. We may attempt to address all the issues that are facing the legal institutions, but I'm not sure maybe if we are not able to cure, or it will be left with little.
Well, grateful for a time here.
For instance, the issue of doing away with the Ghana School of Law, now that we propose that the various faculties would do their own training and call people to the bar. But the Ghana School of Law, whether it should exist or not, but I remember that at the committee level, we agreed that we will maintain the Ghana School of Law because it will still have some roles to play.
What about those who say that this will really compromise on quality of the lawyers that we're going to be churning out under the new regime?
Well, if I don't agree to that. In Ghana, we had a lot of backlog. And personally, I didn't like the idea that students would have to travel to either the United Kingdom or to the Gambia or other Commonwealth countries to be trained and then later come here. So they were giving the money that should have come to Ghana to other countries. And one would realize that this year the number was increased. The Ghana, the authority for the legal education had solved a great number of people. They would all write exams, and it is the same exams they are going to write. So if you fail, you cannot come out to practice. So once the person is good, the person qualifies to write exams and pass the exam. So when we had left the faculty, we went to the Ghana School of Law straight. That time the numbers were not that much, so we were able to stay through easily. But contemporary students are having a lot of problems today, tomorrow, that demonstrations here. And I think if we come out with this legal reform in the educational sector, I'm sure it will address a lot of problems.
Thank you so much, Kwame Emedu, for speaking to us here on Join Us Prime. Well, away from that, the renaming of the Kotoka International Airport has sparked intense debate, with sharp political divisions emerging within Parliament itself. The controversy centers around the government plan to rename the airport to Accra International Airport, with supporters arguing it's a step towards national unity and critics claiming it's an erasure of history. Now, Member of Parliament for Ofuasi Iribi Kojopon Nkrumah has endorsed the government's proposal to rename the airport.
Kotoka International Airport, one of Africa's busiest airports, has a history dating back to World War II when it served as a military airfield for the British Royal Air Force. After the war, it transitioned to civilian use, becoming Accra's main airport. Following Ghana's independence in 1957, the airport underwent expansion to accommodate growing domestic and international air traffic. In 1969, it was officially named Kotoka International Airport in honor of Major General Emmanuel Kwesi Kotoka, a key military figure in the 1966 coup that overthrew President Kwame Nkrumah. Recently, the government announced plans to change the airport's name to Accra International Airport, sparking mixed reactions across the country. Minority Leader Alexander Fayon-Markin described the proposal as an indictment on the NDC.
After this Kotoka International Airport, Accra. So Accra is still there. So if you come to Accra, or even in the country, how many prominent Voltarians have their names on national assets or national monuments? This is the only thing the people of Volta region can also at least see as something that recognizes heroism from the Volta region.
But MP for Fuasia Yorubi, Kojo Nkrumah, appeared to disagree with the minority leader's view.
I think it's a good idea. I'll support it.
You support the name change?
Second?
You support the name change?
I do. I support it. I think that it should be known as the Accra International Airport.
Okay. So you think it's a step in the right direction?
I think so.
Majority Chief Whip Roxanne Nelson Dafiamapo suggested the airport should instead be named after a Ga chief.
For me, I would rather prefer that it's named after one of the Ga kings than Accra. Because even though if they say Accra International Airport, a name like Kintakitewia or some famous Ghana.
Speaking on the AM show, Chief Executive Officer of the Custom Protection Agency, Kofi Kapito, described the debate as irrelevant as there are much more important issues government has to focus on.
What is also about renaming Kotoka? The most important thing that Ghanaians are going through is renaming Kotoka International Airport. Look, the government has done well. The dollar is coming down. Inflation is doing well. Those are the kind of things I want to see. Don't tell me about some international airport renaming.
Meanwhile, Dr. Eli Plem Kwabela Abetobo, Volta Regional Representative on the National Development Planning Commission, urged Voltarians at home and abroad to resist any attempt to rename the airport. But of course, a section of Ghanaians have also been expressing their view on the subject.
They should change it to either Ghana International Airport or Accra International Airport. Because,
if it is appropriate for it to be changed, I think it should be changed, and nothing is wrong with that. Yeah.
I think it's cool if you change it to Ghana International Airport. When everyone is coming into Ghana, they know they are at Ghana International Airport.
I think Kotoka is okay.
The Minister of Transport, Joseph Brokor-Nipe, has clarified that the proposal is not politically motivated, but seeks to restore the original name given by Ghana's first president, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah.
We are not doing this with any political thinking. We are doing this to come from a very neutral point of view that Accra is our capital city. It is not anybody's name. For the fact that we had a name and it was changed to honor somebody in his role in the 1966 coup, we feel that that history is not what the Ghanaian will want to hear.
As the debate continues, the country awaits the president's final assent to the proposed renaming.
You're still watching Joy News Prime with me, Carlos Calone. We'll take a short break. We'll return with more. Stay with us. Welcome back, and thank you so much for staying with us here on Chinese Prime. Well, exporting gold in its raw form will soon be a thing of the past for Ghana as the country begins refining locally gold sourced from the artisanal and small-scale sector following the start of refinery operations by the Ghana Gold Board in partnership with Gold Coast Refinery. The milestone was marked with a tour of the Gold Coast Refinery by the Minister for Finance and Economic Planning, Dr. Cassiel Atuforsen, together with the Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Gold Board, Sami Chimfi. There's more in the following report.
During the tour, the Executive Chairman of Gold Coast Refinery, Dr. Said Deraz, took the Finance Minister, the Gold Board CEO, and other officials through the refinery's full operational chain, demonstrating how raw gold supplied by Gold Board is processed and refined into bullion bars. He explained that Gold Coast Refinery has entered into a technical partnership with Rand Refinery, Africa's only LBMA-accredited refinery, to support the refining process and ensure that gold from Ghana's artisanal and small-scale mining sector is refined locally to meet international standards. The executive chairman of Gold Coast Refinery walked the delegation through the various stages of production. At the bar section, Dr. Forsen was presented with finished gold bars bearing the official stamps of the Ghana Gold Board and the Bank of Ghana. Addressing the media after the tour, the finance minister disclosed that the refining operations have created employment for about 162 Ghanaians. He added that government intends to halt the export of raw gold in the shortest possible time.
Today, Gold Board has the capacity to buy 2.5 tons on average per week of gold. It is our policy to ensure that in the shortest possible time, we will not be exporting raw gold outside this country. This refinery today that has the capacity to do 2 tons, and now with an understanding that we'll begin with 1 ton per week, has employed approximately 162 workers. And they are adding value to our gold, and they are going to operate 24 hours in line with our 24-hour economy policy at the airport, and creating a gold industry. It's adding value to Ghana's gold. For the first time, you will be able to see a gold bar stamped in the name of Ghana Gold Board and the Central Bank.
Speaking to Joy News, the Chief Executive Officer of Gold Board, Sami Chimfi, said beyond job creation and revenue mobilization, local gold refining will help determine the accurate purity of Ghana's gold.
What this local refining does for us as a country is that the purity losses we suffer as a country by virtue of the fact that we export raw gold is totally eliminated. You know, take, for example, small-scale gold. When we are exporting small-scale gold and we do so in raw form like we have done since time immemorial, we are unable to determine the accurate purity of the gold.
Gold Board is expected to supply the Gold Coast Refinery with 1 metric ton of gold each week. As of Wednesday, the board had supplied the refinery with 200 kilograms of gold. Reporting for Joy News, Gemma Apia.
Let's do some politics now, because tonight, MPP MP for Damongo and former Lands Minister Samuel Abojenapo says it's completely premature to be discussing who should partner the MPP flag bearer, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, as running mate for the 2028 election. Barely a week after his election, Joy News understands there's been intense jostling for the running mate position already, with 2 names coming up. The 2024 running mate Matthew Opoku Prempeh and Dr. Bryony Champong, who made an impressive showing in the party's primaries. But speaking exclusively to Joy News, Samuel Abojenapo says such talks should be relegated into the background, as the NDC are even yet to elect a flag bearer. My colleague Kweku Asante has more in the following report.
It's been barely a week since Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia was elected flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party, but already there is intense jostling as to who partners him for 2028 as his running mate, with names flying all over the place. Names like Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh has strongly come up. He partnered Dr. Bawumia for 2024, with some supporters saying still maintained. Dr. Bernard Champon, following his impressive showing in that 2026 primaries, his name has also come up quite strongly. Samuel Abujinapot says it is premature for names to be coming up at this point.
Isn't it too early? Isn't it premature? I mean, we just had this election. It's less than a month. And I think that our focus should be on reorganizing our party, restructuring our party, putting the party together, and making sure that the horse which Dr. Mamadou Bawumia is going to ride on into the election of 2028, which is the MPP horse, the MPP vehicle, the MPP machine, is fit for purpose and is been healed and cured and put together in a manner that it can go forward into this race with confidence, courage, and strength. The question of vice presidential can, I believe, will come further down the road, not now.
Samuel Abujinapot says Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, despite getting 60% plus in 2023 and falling to 56% in 2026, still has massive control and massive support in the NPP.
So if you look at it in terms of the widespread of the victory, it means that there is much more broad acceptability of his candidature. But victory is victory. I mean, and that means that he has full authority, he has a full mandate of the party, he's a leader of the party, and he is the man in charge of the New Patriotic Party now.
In Otokpalu, in Ghana's eastern region, families have seen projects come and go. Not because they reject change, but because their voices were not heard. Clean cook stoves are abandoned and women and children return to smoky kitchens and dangerous fuels. But when chiefs, queen mothers and community members are listened to, everything changes. Solution begins to work, lives begin to improve, and resilience begins to grow. Benedicta Ohenes Asamoah of KTU Radio has more in the following report.
In many Ghanaian communities, resilience begins with leadership. Chiefs stand before their people to champion new ideas. Queen mothers guide women and families through change. Youth leaders bring innovation. These voices hold trust, and when they are involved, energy solutions take root.
Because of that, because I told me, no, because of that, now that's all. For the beginning of the beauty, for the beginning of the life. If the problem is, I can't bring another of my airport, a quarter of ways, because the Camino bottom. Every castle, can I live nice your man? People will only use me, no live nice or a billion by a problem. No, getting down my gas, no, look, my teach me. I'm a gem, Mohammed. Now my teach me, but I use Solana. Here I am young.
But too often, projects arrive without listening to them. Solar lamps lie broken, LPG stoves gather dust, and clean cook stoves are abandoned.
The entire gas nigga affordable fine, but this is no one. Ubefaka, another motor, Acophobia, I had Municophobia in and out 15 cities. That's an answer of Filiga Nasamba. It manufacture Nibi war area Hanaka Benya. Can filling station Nibi Benya, can be a bad day, a baby biato. Well, Bay Maya, what? And a cylinder to be Brian, we won't careful. Convenience cylinder free crana, Nago of Philidia, Nipan be pretty so bad. Bobako tossing in the best phone the 501 yet.
Cylinder boy a day.
gas bonds here din. Intina my yusu bidie. Na bidie no so ye yusu a ye so a eko smoke no eko yemu.
Na gas no dey ye. Na hent me to gas no. Until you still bidie. Na we dey kakra na malaria ye.
The demand for wood drives deforestation, which worsens soil erosion, reduces rainfall, and leaves communities more exposed to floods, droughts, and heat waves. But there is another path. When chiefs and queen mothers are involved, when communities are consulted, projects succeed. That is how communities secure not just energy, but a climate-smart future.
This story is brought to you by Joy News in partnership with CDKN Ghana, University of Ghana Center for Climate Change and Sustainability Studies, with funding from Claire R4I Opportunities Fund.
Well, scars, strength, and survivor took center stage today as breast cancer survivors shared stories many women are too afraid to tell. As part of World Cancer Day celebrations, Breast Care International, in partnership with the Kempinski Gold Coast Hotel and its survivors, whose journeys prove that breast cancer is not a death sentence, but can be cured through early detection. Deborah Bedu has more in the following report.
On World Cancer Day, Breast Care International, in partnership with Kempinski Gold Coast Hotel, celebrated breast cancer survivors at the Peace and Love Hospital. The event honored the courage and resilience of women who refused to give up even after losing a part of their bodies. Survivors like Benita Obona, who lost her right breast and feared repeating her mother's fate, shared powerful stories of survival, sending a strong message about hope, early detection, and the fight against breast cancer.
I'm 8 years breast cancer survivor. As a survivor, the journey wasn't easy. If I tell you it is easy, it wasn't easy. Or should I say it was worth it? Because anytime I see myself standing, when I sleep and open my eyes, I see it as a great privilege. Like mine, I'm having a history. My mother died from it. To every woman out there, the way you care for your face, please care for your breasts. Know your breasts. Know when something is happening to your breasts. That way you will know, okay, something is happening, I have to go get it checked.
Fear and stigma remain major barriers to breast cancer screening, says Grace Enimwa, a radiographer at the Peace and Love Hospital. She recalled a recent health outreach where not a single woman turned up for screening. Yet, during the same exercise, the team detected breast cancer in 5 men. A revelation underscores that breast cancer is not only a woman's disease, and avoiding screening because of fear or stigma can be deadly.
Because of stigmatization, we refused to go there. We went to Nyanyano some time ago. We never had a female with breast cancer, but we have 5 male with advanced breast cancer.
The event also attracted high-profile personalities, including gospel musician ACP Kofi Sapong and media personality Akuma Mama Zimbi, who encouraged both men and women to take screening seriously.
I needed to come because I've been an ambassador for breast cancer awareness for over some years. And so it's an honor and a privilege to be part of this great occasion.
As survivors turn their scars into symbols of strength, one message is clear: breast cancer is not a death sentence. Early detection, awareness, and support can make the difference between life and loss. For Joy News, Deborah Enimwa Bedu's report read to you.
Well, time for Showbiz, and Becky, you're here.
Yes, always here.
Yeah, what's up?
This evening we're putting the spotlight on the movie industry across Africa in today's digital age. Promoting a movie goes far beyond the cinema screen. As social media takes center stage in Nollywood marketing, actors are now expected to do more than act, sparking conversations about where promotion ends and personal boundaries. Ghanaian musician Stonebwoy has weighed in on the ongoing conversation surrounding the proposed renaming of Kotoka International Airport to Accra International Airport. Speaking in an exclusive interview with the 1957 News on the sidelines of the Africa Prosperity Dialogue, the award-winning artist shared his perspective on the national debate and its cultural significance.
It used to be called Accra International Airport anyway. That's why when you're going to fly, you see the ACC, you know. So that has been before. So when the name goes back to Accra International Airport, for whatever reason, I would believe that the reasons are clear, the reasons are politically accurate, the reasons are very nationalistic. I would believe so. But should this change and it doesn't reflect any upliftment, then I think I wouldn't side for that. But if it's going to reflect upliftment and uplift a positive narrative about this nation, I'm for that. Yes, Kotoka, actually, we all know, Kotoka is actually from my hometown. Right, I'm from Alakple. Anybody who knows the right history knows that General Kotoka comes from Alakple, my actual hometown. And the history will tell us how he participated in the coup d'etat that would have dethroned, Kwame Nkrumah. So that is the narrative that has been tagged around him for the name change of the airport. So there's a school of thought that insists that he does not represent a good statue for the state. I think that is the reason. I don't want to dig into it too much because I don't believe that one human being can be so evil all his life. There must be some good aspects. So for the fact that he got to be named after the airport, maybe because of his good parts. You know what I'm saying? So if it has to be changed, then let it be changed for another good reason.
There from Alakple. But what do you make of, the name change? You think that it's something that should be done, Carlos?
Well, I share in his thoughts, as in there should be something significant to warrant the change of name. Probably be an expansion of the facility or something. But when it comes to the names, maybe we should name it after Becky Becks. So Becky Becks International Airport.